Okay guys, so in this video, we will show you how to deal with some variations of the mount, how to strip my partner's leg, Reguard, and use 2 ways to deal with the mount. Welcome back, Sandro, to the channel. Oh, and you guys watching. Today, this one is called the fundamentals of mount escapes. Now, before you click away, this is geared towards beginners, but I think everyone at every belt should once again revise the fundamentals. So maybe you catch a few details. Today, we're going to look at 2 ways to deal with the full mount. We're going to see more than 2 techniques, but 2 general ways, which is either reguarding, is working my way back to my guard, or reversing, a reversal where I get a top position. Which one is better? Well, that depends. So before we dive into technique, let's just see some moving here so you don't get distracted, or that you do get distracted. But in mount, I can reverse the position, which means I'm on bottom now, and I will find a way, most of you know this escape, I will find a way to reverse the position and get back on top. But in most rule sets in grappling or jiu-jitsu, that doesn't score me any points, and I then have to deal with my partner's guard. And also, a thing for you to take away is that in mount, we usually tend to be very stressed because my partner has a good position, he scored points, and he can submit me. But my partner can also submit me from close guard. Even worse yet, in full mount, some submissions are pretty hard. If he does a kimura, for example, there's no space for him to finish this kimura. But if we were to be in the close guard, now there's space behind me where he can finish this kimura. Now that goes with some more submissions. There's more space for him to put his legs behind me. So maybe you don't want to end up in your partner's close guard or in his guard in general. Now the exception is obviously MMA. In MMA I really want to be on top, start ground and pounding or escaping. But reguarding is also a good way in jiu-jitsu. If we reguard and we find a way to work ourselves back into a form of guard where we trap our partner's leg and start attacking here, maybe I get the underhook, I start working in, weaving in for half butterfly, I can start attacking from here. It also doesn't score me any points. Of course, there's a risk of him passing me again and scoring points again for the pass in the top position. Today, I'm not going to be a ref and go into all the points, but I just want you to take away this concept. In full mount, I think the first thing you should learn as a beginner is to chill. The most submissions occur when people start spazzing. They start turning, giving up their back, giving up submission. I'll show you a few things just real quick. I'm in mount. He's on my chest. I cannot breathe. Now, this is a chill mount, but usually, usually it's going to be... And I'm going to panic, Now, for the sake of the microphone and showing the technique, we have some space. But when you start bench pressing, framing, turning around, this is where arm bars just show something. Arm bars, back takes, everything happens here because you panic. So first off, let's stay chill. Let's protect our neck and our limbs. And then we're going to look at 2 ways, reguarding and reversal. Let's start off with the reversal because it's one of the things you learn first in jiu-jitsu and mount. Now, the first technique you might know, it's a bridge and roll, also known as an upa escape. If you think, I know this escape, just skip to the next one, or maybe just watch it. You might pick up a detail that you haven't seen before. Now, in the basic bridge and roll, especially for beginners, there's a few things that we mess up. First off, if we bridge up, then gravity goes back down. This is just an extreme waste of my energy. So if our hips are together, I can bridge, which is really good. But for now, I'm not even trying to bridge. I'm trying to bring his hands to the mat. I will put my knee between his lower back and bring his hands forward to the mat. So not up, but forward, this explosively, while basing on my other leg. Now, as soon as his hands hit the mat, he will start sitting back up and I will miss the arm. So my timing should be simultaneously. This is the thing that beginners struggle in jiu-jitsu. They do either one thing with lower body or one thing with upper body. You have to do both together, like driving a car. As I bridge, as I base his hands to the mat, I'm going to swim for his arm. Now, if you're lazy, you will always catch underneath the elbow. So look, I will go here, and I will catch here. Now he will just pull the arm out. So I don't have his arm. I do not have his arm bent, but worse yet, I do not have his posture and his weight. The higher I'm up in the arm, the more I control his chest through his arm. So watch what happens. When I bring his hands to the mat, I'm going to sit up and catch the arm high. Yes, this is a bit more tiring, but you shouldn't have messed up and got into mount. So as soon as I bring him forward, I sit up and I bend the arm here. Now for the beginners, if you put your hand on the mat and I start bridging now, you have a little bit of base, but I will usually completely push over that and your wrist will bend in the wrong direction. So a small tip is grab the shoulder of your partner so you don't twist your wrist. But for me, I don't care. I control up high and I squeeze with this overhook to prevent my partner from basing. Because if I bridge to the left, he will just put his hand there. So that's how I prevent him from basing. This is just the way. I'll show you a different one. Now to prevent his foot from basing, I will trap it with my foot. Now, later on, if you have to choose between reversal and regarding, sometimes chaining them together is good. I start bridging, he bases the foot, and I'm back to escaping with the regard, which you'll show later. So it's not always important to catch the foot. For now, I will catch the foot so he doesn't bridge. And now the thing is, if I bridge with my hip, I will move my partner. But there's also the upper body. I'm not using my hand. It's way too much space for him to weave in and start attacking. But I will use my chest and bicep to bump into his chest and bicep. Now I'll use the full bridge to turn my partner over. So watch what happens. My hip, but also my upper body, here, with the bicep, is gonna push my partner off as I roll over. Now we're not done yet. I think most escapes stop here, but I'm inside his guard and he has an underhook on me. So we'll get into shoulder crunch, and for the more advanced people, this is not really good for me. So what I like to do is, for the beginners, there's kimuras here and submissions. What I like to do, as soon as I end up, I catch the inside positioning and work my way back to posture. And that's where my escape stops. 0 points in his guard, but I escaped him out. If you want to see it again, just skip back. Short variation is either I overcommit, his hands are way too far, or he's uptight, and I'm going to control his arm, let's do the other direction this time, with a 2-on-1 grip. Now if I'm here, he can pull and curl his arm out. So he can curl, or he can pull with the strength of his back. So instead of this, I will control the wrist and behind the elbow. Yeah, and this looks easy, but the grip fighting here is the hardest part. Once I get the arm, it's kind of tough. But we're fighting, as I grab it behind the elbow, I'm going to pull the elbow this direction and forward as I push the hand into the hip. Now if he pulls the arm out, at least I can hold on a while. Come on, let's go. Let's go, yeah? So his whole posture is moving. Now I have this base, so I'm going to bridge the opposite direction. I keep control of the arm, and then I like to usually base this leg and start working with my passes, but that's a different story, yeah? Once again, the same principle applies. As soon as I reverse the position, I'm back into attacking or at least settling, yeah? I don't stop there. Now that's 2 ways to do a reversal. Now let's look at a regard, yeah? And then we'll look at some troubleshooting with high mount and grapevines. For a regard, let's just see this as close guard, upside down. I just want to pass the guard. Now, in close guard, you might learn to push with your elbows here. I'm going to do the same thing. My partner is low on the mount. I block his hip, and I never want to get diagonal behind his center line. If I turn too much here, he will take my back. This becomes important with many of the regards. I'll be here, I put my elbow in, and I cannot move this leg, so keep this leg in position. I cannot move it. I will just keep it here, and my hip is, instead of bridging, using another fundamental move, which is the AB, the hip escape. I'm going to bridge, AB into this leg. So I keep this leg here, AB into this leg. Now I wedge my knee in between, yeah, and usually they will start to put their weight back, and I'll try to work towards half guard and do it again. If I keep their weight on this side, by posting in their armpit, shoulder, or throat, I'll put my foot on the hip. From here I can start attacking their leg, or switch it to the opposite side, wrestle in for like this leg drag pass, back takes there, all kinds of stuff. So I work my way in the guard by just doing an AB and getting my knee in between. Now it looks easy, but it's kind of hard, and the best way to get this is to chain different escapes together. The more he focuses on basing, the lighter his hips become. The heavier he is on his hips, the lighter he is with his upper body grips, and that's how I chain them together. Now the final one is I want to trap my partner's foot back into quarter guard, or quarter mount from his perspective. This is a bit dangerous, I'll show you why in a second. I have to get my partner's foot low, because if it's at my hip, I can never reach it. Now I cannot move my partner, I cannot push my partner down. I will just keep my partner in place and move myself up. Now if he tries to get higher on the mount, he's stuck here. I will drop my leg on the floor, and this is important. As my leg drops and my hip twists, my shoulders stay aligned to the ceiling, because if I turn with my whole body, there's the back take again. So my shoulders stay on the mat and only my hip turns. Now I'll try and look for the foot and trap it in my leg, and this is the hardest part. Sometimes I cheat a little bit by grabbing the foot for a second and trapping it here, or if I only use my feet, I will trap it and scissor my legs under and squeeze. Now I ask my partner to put his weight on the left knee. Now I use a reverse AB to lift his knee. Look, I twist my hips, the knee comes up, and I push it in. Usually immediately going for this underhook, and then playing my guard from there, or back to any form of guard, which we'll not cover today. The problem with this is as soon as we're in quarter mount, officially he is in my guard. So if I cannot improve my position here, and he releases the foot again, he now scores points again. So once you get the foot, you have to commit and get him off, yeah? Otherwise, you're just giving him points back. Also, when I have the foot, I have to work for the melee, because if I stay here too long, my partner has some options. He can try a knee cut pass again, bring his knee in to the opposite side, get this underhook in. He can go for a rolling back take here, a bolo. When he turns, back steps, rolls over, takes my back. Now, I told you this was fundamentals and for the beginners. Just got to show you the risks. Don't bother with this. Or, what I also really like to do, is he can switch the knee and back step into a cross hashi. And start attacking my leg here. Hope you can see that. So as soon as I trap the foot, it's go time, guys. Now, these are 2 reversals and 2 reguards. Now let's look at a small detail when my partner has the grapevines in. Because I know you guys, there's so many variations of mount, right? There's mount where he's completely low, there's mount when he dips a hip, there's S mount, there's high mount when he's super high. Let's also deal with this really quick, and there's the grapevines. Let's do this one first. If my partner is high, I cannot push him back. What I want to do is I want to block his hips, I want to look up and walk my shoulder blades and move myself away. Now if he wants to improve the position, I've blocked it. This same mechanic we've seen in our side control escape video. It is my shoulder blades walking over the floor and keeping my partner in place. From there on, I can do the same escapes or make my AB escape, wedge in, and go back to my reguard. Now finally, the grapevines real quick. A lot of white belts get completely stuck here. Because if I move my legs inwards, he keeps tension. And if I move them outwards, he keeps tension too. And I'm stuck. And if I cannot use my feet, it's hard to bridge, it's hard to reguard, and I cannot really do anything. So, how do we deal with the grapevines? Now, look, it's very simple. Sandro's legs are long and strong, keep a lot of tension. If I go outwards, he will just follow. So what I want to do is I want to squeeze them in, hold tight, and I'm going to extend my leg all the way straight to the ceiling. Boom. If I now put it back, he will just put the grapevine back in place, and I just spend energy for nothing. Yeah, and maybe I can be quicker, but let's do it correctly. As soon as I extend this leg, I cannot switch and base with this one and do the same here, because he will just grapevine this again and we'll keep going left and forward. So what I do is this. I extend straight to the ceiling, not to the outside. As I do so, my right foot peels his foot off my grapevine, and I put weight on it, so I lift my hip. Now if he wants to re-grapevine here, that's too far, because I'm diagonal, and this one is free. I usually feel him pushing it back, and I try to weave underneath, and immediately try to catch it, or lift it, and get back into my reguards. Yeah? If you want to see it again, just rewind. It's hard for beginners to focus on their feet without looking at your feet. So try not to turn and look, because you will expose your back. You gotta feel in jiu-jitsu what your feet are doing, whilst your upper body is doing something else, maybe defending a submission or improving your arms. As he defends the feet, maybe I can catch an arm and do reversals. So one more time, before you miss it, mix both things together. Reversals, reguards, feet, upper body. Yeah, and if you want to see some more cool stuff, maybe in a different video, we will cover how to walk my partner down, do kipping escapes, immediately start attacking with butterfly, sweeping, etc. But that's for something else. See you in the next one. Oos.